Your Majesty.
George. Just George.
Young Charlotte of Mecklenberg, betrothed against her will to King George, arrives in London on her wedding day and faces scrutiny from the monarch's mother. Queen Charlotte faces a crisis in the court as the heir to King George dies in childbirth. Hello, entertainment enthusiasts. This is Ray, and this is the Fandom Realm, and today I'm reviewing episode number 1 of Queen Charlotte, a Bridgerton story. As always, spoilers abound, so just be aware. Now, I'm just going to start off. This is sort of a surprise. I didn't know much about this show until I started watching it the other day, and I absolutely loved it. I'm just going to say I was not a big fan of the first 2 Bridgertons. I didn't really watch them. I think I watched maybe a total of 3 episodes combined. And for me, just to be honest, they were too chick flicky. Okay. But I started reading about Queen Charlotte. I started looking at a couple clips, and with sort of the historical fiction background of this, basically, I was like, hey, I'm going to give this a shot. I'll take a look. And I'm not completely through it yet, but man alive, I just absolutely love it so far. It is up there on my list of best shows of the year. And so with that, we're going to take a look and see how everybody likes it. Hopefully we can get a ton of views for this. Don't forget, subscribe to the channel. I'm trying to get to 400 views by June the 11th. And with that, let's take a look at Queen Charlotte.
Reader, this is the story of Queen Charlotte from Bridgerton.
Okay, so here we go, and I may be talking over some things as we go.
It is not a history lesson. It is fiction inspired by fact.
And I just want to point things out to people. That's called historical fiction. I love historical fiction. It's based on an event, but it's not 100% accurate. Or heck, maybe not even 5% accurate, but it's based on historical events. Okay, so they're making a deal. And she throws a fit. So she's obviously the one being married off. And she's, of course, not very happy about it. Although in those days she would not have had very much to say.
Beautiful. Art can be beautiful to gaze upon. You are ridiculous to the eye.
Or she could have had a lot to say, but nobody would have really cared, to be honest.
Brother, the bones of Wales died so I could look like this.
And I love the back and forth between her and her brother here.
Stabbed to death by my undergarments. Oh, how joyful it is to be a lady.
And, you know, she's right. Any kind of dresses back then.
I am angry and I cannot breathe. And both are thanks to you, brother.
Charlotte.
Any kind of dresses back then were crazy. And then you talk about corsets. I mean, goodness.
He could have anyone, and yet they came hunting all the way across the continent for me.
Okay, so she's wondering why it was her.
No, it cannot be a good reason, because you have not looked me in the eye since you told me.
Oh, now there's a sister knowing what the brother's all about.
Quality. So I take full responsibility for the fact that you are now exceedingly headstrong.
Okay, so now he's going to hit on her a little bit.
And mistakenly think you can make decisions. You cannot. I am in charge.
Boy, that's... Ugh. I didn't like him from the beginning.
We had no choice. I had no choice.
I like this little statement from him here, though.
I know that no one who looks like you or me has ever married one of these
and
people.
And if you missed it, he basically said, it's the British Empire. We can't say no.
Shut up. Do your duty to our country and be happy.
Not very respectful there.
But there are worse fates than marrying the King of England.
Amen to that. I'll agree with you there. Okay, so with that first section of clips here, what I do want to go through and just mention real quick is the historical fiction aspect of this, and I think that's what drew me to it, because I'm a history teacher, of course, and with that, I like seeing things based on history as well, but then knowing like this is historical fiction, yeah, they've taken a lot of amenities with it, and they've added and subtracted and done things to make this into a very nice little tidy story. And so I think that's why I was drawn to this other than like the other Bridgerton stories. Man, this actress, she does the angry walk really good.
I'm sorry to disturb you at this hour with such news.
Shut up, Doctor, and talk.
Okay.
Is he dead?
Oh, no. No, ma'am. Your husband is quite hearty.
And, of course, this is George III that we are talking about here.
Have you no sense? It is treasonous to interrupt my beauty sleep.
And that is the George III that was there when the American Revolution happened.
Duel.
Your Majesty.
If I could still have people beheaded, you would be in the queue.
Your Majesty.
That's fun. I like that.
Doctor, if the king is not dead, who is?
Okay, so that's a big slap in the face right there.
King George III and Queen Charlotte died in childbirth along with her baby.
Okay. Now, with that, this doesn't...
Our heads grieve more for the future of the monarchy itself.
That scene was a little confusing there, and I want to explain it.
For the crown now has a crisis on its hands.
That was not George's daughter.
Finally turns her matchmaking energies onto her own family.
Sorry, that was not the next George's wife.
And now not a royal heir from any of them.
That was George III's granddaughter that was laying there.
Is the Queen's knowledge of how to make a good marriage nothing but talk?
Oh, the woman writing the story, I can never remember her name, but boy, she hits home sometimes. And I like the little transitions and things like they're doing that.
Teeth.
Ah, Caitlin Stark. Yes.
You have good hips. You will make lots of babies.
And that she does. You were right there.
Brimsley, take Charlotte to the seamstress so we can have her gown fit.
The casting for this show was absolutely great.
A traditional English gown will not carry all of the fuss and the...
Okay, so sort of the French arrogance,
You cannot walk
English
I'm always with you, Your Highness.
not being
5 paces
arrogant.
behind.
5 paces behind.
Of course, she's not going to get over this 5 paces.
I mean, he is the king, he is the ruler, and he is the monarch. Those are all the same things.
Okay, love her Queen's Man. We're going to get to meet the King's Man later. They are awesome. But basically here, again, I'm going to go back to this idea of what happened in that one scene. Now, when you're looking at who died, I'll be honest, I thought that was the guy that was crying is George's and Charlotte's son, George IV. I thought George IV, that was his wife who had died, and it was his daughter that was the grandbaby that wasn't born. That actually was George IV's daughter, not wife, that was in the casket.
Mum,
You did not say she would be that brown.
but I did say she had more blood.
Very brown.
And so now this topic of basically her color.
Walk.
People will talk. It is a problem.
We have already made the trade deals.
And there was some issue here on,
Therefore, nothing he does would ever be a problem for the palace. Would it, Lord Bute?
how brown Charlotte was going to be. I know there was a little bit of that.
We shall expand the guest list for the wedding and add to her court.
Okay, so that would have made some sense there.
It is only the king realizes that the wedding is in 6 hours?
So they're going to send out wedding invitations in 6 hours. I guess when you can go knock on doors and hand them out like that, it's easy. Oh my goodness. Oh, he just took his false teeth out after he got done doing the deal.
I have your bath waiting, Mum.
You gave me no warning.
I had no warning.
We always have warning.
So she's not really big into her marriage. It's pretty obvious.
Stay! I believe the surprise is why he was excited.
Or at least at this point, she's not.
It's the surprise. You have been invited to the royal wedding.
Okay. That would have been surprising for her at that point.
Said they received an invitation as well. The Dowager Princess has invited our side.
Okay, and so folks coming for Charlotte.
Is he handsome? Is he kind? Is he funny? Is he warm, well-read?
I think it's crazy that nobody will answer her questions because it is the king.
I need to use the chamber pot.
The chamber pot excuse. I must say, I do like the costuming.
I shall greet them first to make clear their standing and the king's intentions.
Okay, so the Dowager Princess, the king's mother.
You here with us today on this family occasion, Lord Danbury.
Or Dowager Queen. That is a big...
Lord,
You shall be receiving the official proclamation from the king.
That's a big thing there because she's basically telling him he's now a lord.
There is a problem.
What have you done now, Brimsley?
The bride is missing.
Okay, so Queensman and Kingsman. And Lady Dansbury sees the future queen. And really the big thing here, and I'm not going to get into it all that much historical, but there was some question in society in Britain at the time, bringing in Charlotte from Mecklenburg, who was supposedly had her background meant her skin color was darker than most English people. She did have an ancestry back to the Moors in Spain, which would have basically come from maybe the North Africa area, and so she was a little dark. She was darker than most British at the time, and so now she's out looking for a way out.
Hello, my lady. Are you in need of assistance of some kind?
I am quite fine.
Okay, and of course we all know that's King George.
Whatever for?
Because I think he may be a beast.
A beast?
Or a troll.
I mean, nobody would tell her what he was like, so she's making assumptions.
What he looks like matters?
I do not care what he looks like. What I do not like is not knowing that.
I like that statement. It wasn't if he was bad looking, it's that she wanted to know.
I believe I can make it over the garden wall.
You want me to lift you over the wall so you may escape?
That is what I said, yeah.
Okay, of course he's not going to do that.
I refuse when that lady in distress is trying to go over a wall so that she does not have to marry me.
Oh, that's a good one.
Hello, Charlotte. I'm George.
I love his introduction to her. Just this entire scene is awesome. And when he reaches down to get her hand when she curtsies, I just love that. I don't know what there is about it.
Your Majesty.
George. Just George.
And I love that. To me, that could have been the name of the show. George, just George.
I do not know you.
I do not know you either.
Okay, so they come up to that idea of needing to know each other.
But I did not. I am a fair fencer, an even better shot. My favorite food is mutton.
Okay, so he's going to tell her about himself.
Science.
Chemistry, physics and botany, especially astronomy.
Okay, astronomy especially. We're going to see that in the show.
I'm quite the farmer. Probably would be a farmer if I were not...
Farmer. we're going to see that too.
About marrying a girl I am only just meeting minutes before our wedding.
So, of course, he's going to be nervous about that as well. It's not just her.
I promise you, I am neither a troll nor a beast.
Yeah, he's definitely not a troll or a beast. And he's nice.
Moment, Charlotte was just deciding whether or not she wanted to marry me.
Oh, some awkwardness there with the brother, almost putting his foot in his mouth.
Either way, the choice is entirely up to her.
And with him saying that, giving her the choice, that was huge. Man, I just love that scene. That entire scene was awesome.
Well, first, I need to change.
Okay, so she's definitely going to go in and wear the French dress. I think that's pretty obvious. I'm going to tell you, I absolutely adore this entire scene. And the fact that we get introduced to King George III like that. We had only seen him for a split second, but no lines so far. And then with Charlotte, and they meet in this awkward way, and they introduce to each other. It's very innocent. We hear him tell her it's George, just George, talking about what he does. He's a farmer. He's into astronomy. He can shoot. He likes mutton. All those things just made me really like him. Too dang bad we just had to kick his butt to become independent.
Pieces fall into place.
What?
Scheiße, she looks beautiful, husband.
This guy I think he's from the Ivory Coast. He's awesome. Okay, so walking down the aisle, getting ready to get married. That is a beautiful dress that she chose there. Okay, and the ring ceremony. And a very tender kiss, and I thought they did a really good job there. I think a kiss that was too aggressive would have been off-putting. Okay, so they're dancing at the wedding reception.
Take care, Your Majesty.
Adolphus?
I shall pray that you are soon blessed with children.
I'll tell you, I just don't like him. I don't like him at all.
I'm Lady Agatha Danbury. I'm to be on your court.
Then we shall be great friends.
Okay, so she's going to warn her here.
I have a surprise for you.
And I like how he shows her some support by reaching over and taking her hand. All right, so she's got a home here.
Who lives here?
I had it redesigned just for you.
Okay, that's a nice thing to do.
I'm not sure I understand. If this is my house, is it not also our house?
Yeah, that was a little confusing to start.
So you shall live in Kew?
Yes.
And I shall live here?
Yes.
And that's the way it is.
We are married. Are we not supposed to do what married people do?
And this is fun. This is a fun, interesting conversation here too.
Fine, I shall stay.
George.
I said I shall stay. Are you coming?
You know,
George, I cannot keep up. Slow
I
down.
thought you wanted me in the bedroom. Is that not where I should be?
No.
No?
This would have been something to throw most people way off.
George, this is how it is to be. This is our marriage, you there and me here.
And if you know about George, you know he has issues.
I have decided I am your king!
And you don't realize how insecure he was about those issues.
My mistake. I thought you were just George. Forgive me, Your Majesty.
In these scenes and right after the wedding in this time period.
May I withdraw, Your Majesty, or did you want to say anything else to me?
And so with that, that's actually going to be revealed to us later on, what he was feeling in this instance here. because I'm going to tell you, at this point, I was not happy with George.
Here.
I hope in time you'll become used to me, Your Majesty.
Okay, so she's going to have her queensman here. Okay, so that section there, this is basically the wedding and getting them together. And again, the big thing here at the end was how uncomfortable George was once they got to the house, talking about the wedding night, talking about him basically doing his husband duties. And, with that, he was, you could tell he's very uncomfortable, and he got angry. And that's because he was uncomfortable, because he knows he has the issue he's had it since he was a child, and he's worried about upsetting her with it, or at least that's what it looked like.
Are they sober?
I do not know that we would be right.
Okay, love this scene as well.
Of the United Kingdom.
Hello, my children.
She had 15 total children. Imagine that.
I will not stand for it.
Really, we have lives.
We have business to attend to.
And at this point, 13 of them were still alive.
By business, do you mean fornicating with your mistresses? Or do you mean producing more bastards for me to ignore?
And she's pretty direct. Love that.
Trust me, Edward, no sexual innuendo makes an impression upon your sisters.
Again, I really like this actress and how she plays this part.
Start fornicating.
Mother.
Perhaps then I might have legitimate grandbabies.
Okay, so finding an heir is going to be extremely important.
Married woman? Yes. And where are your babies?
And I know a lot of people ask, well, aren't there 13 heirs sitting right there?
You are doing it correctly. You are making sure he's putting it in the right place.
Mother.
Now that's a smack across the face right there, I'm going to tell you.
Have had a record number of babies. Illegitimate whore babies.
But the problem is, yes, there's 13 of them, but eventually they're all going to die, and they have to have an heir.
Children, this is a crisis. I've heard from the Prime Minister on the topic.
And so they need to be having legitimate babies.
Next ruler of the United Kingdom, or your father's line dies with him.
And I don't think I'm spoiling this to say.
Your father and I made 15 royal babies all by ourselves.
But we all know that Queen Victoria comes from one of these.
I do not see why the whole lot of you cannot make just one.
That Queen Victoria comes from one of these 13 kids. I'm not going to go over which one it is right now. And then there, Charlotte is feeling very alone in the palace. Okay, basically, this entire section was basically just confronting the issue of needing an heir to the throne. And she's got all these kids, and the women are basically not bearing children, and the men are bearing plenty of them, but they're not married, so they're not legitimate. And so they need a true heir. And as I said, Queen Victoria, that people are familiar with, is an heir through this line. I think it's Edward who ends up being her father. And so, with all that going on, I really, really enjoyed that scene. And then to have that long pull-out scene with Charlotte there at the end, and having it basically showing how alone she is. She's left everything back in Mecklenburg, and she is basically alone. Now, with that, everybody, what I want to do right now is move into our ups, downs, conversation, rant, rave section review, which isn't going to be long. What I'm going to try to do is do most of my reviewing in the gaps between the sections of video, so I can keep the videos a little bit shorter and try to get them cut down a little bit. So the big things here, just to review, I loved the last scene, Charlotte talking about an heir to the throne. I absolutely loved the idea of George and Charlotte meeting and that conversation that took place. I thought that was the best scene of this entire episode. I love Lady Danbury. I even like her husband and the way they interact as well. Also, don't like Charlotte's brother. We're supposed to not like Charlotte's brother, just to make that clear. And then sort of the time period. I love the scenes. I love the costuming. I love the set design. All that fits really well. The history person in me just geeks out over all this. And so with this first episode, I could tell you I had exactly 0 negatives about it. And so I'm really looking forward to the future episodes. I hope you are too, and I hope you're definitely going to give us some views and hit that like button a lot. Now, with that, I'm giving this episode, I'd try to get away from grades, but I graded anyway. I'm going to give this episode an A to start. This series is one of the best series I've seen in the last year, at least since last August when I restarted the channel. And so with that, I just want to get it out there, see if other people think the same thing. This could replace some of these other shows, at least temporarily, for what we're reviewing. With that, it's going to bring this review to an end. So please subscribe to the channel. We're trying to get to 400 by June the 11th. Comment below. I want to comment and talk to people about what you think about the series. So please comment below and absolutely smash that like button. Likes help us a lot. Pile those on and it's going to help us out. And with that, have a great day, and I'll see you next time on the Fandom Realm.